Hello everyone, I'm Anastasia. I welcome you all to this new session of Fundamental of Nursing. So since we have started with the 9th unit, in my last session we have discussed about what do we mean by machine, by equipments and also by linen. And also we have discussed about what are the various things that we nurses must keep in mind when we take care of the linen, of the blanket, of the mattress as well as of the pillow which will be provided for the client during their hospital stay. So in today's session, we are going to discuss about the care of rubber goods and steel items. So as we know, and also if you have ever visited the hospital, then you might have seen that there will be usage of various rubber articles in the hospital, which can include the Macintosh, the rubber tubing that can consist of the rectal tubing, the gastric lavage, the NG tubes, the suction catheter, the suction tube, the enema tube, and so on and so forth, right? And also the gloves. So here gloves are of two types, that is the reusable and the disposable. So these gloves are also made out of rubber, and also the ambu bag and its mouthpiece, the breast pump, the hot water bottle, the air pillow, the air cushion, as well as the eye caps. So here whenever you go to the hospital, you will be seeing that there are various articles which will be made up of rubber and which will be used in order to provide care for the client. So how will you take care of these rubber goods? The first thing is that we should be able to store these goods properly, and also we should be able to handle these articles carefully. So a Macintosh will always be used for the client, right? After the bed of the client has been covered with the bed sheet, we will be using a Macintosh where we will be covering the Macintosh over the bed sheet, right? So this rubber Macintosh must be stored in a dry, dark and a cool place. You must make sure that this rubber Macintosh should never be exposed to the sunlight. And also when you are folding this rubber Macintosh, then you should make sure that you don't fold it, but instead of that, you should roll the Macintosh. And also whenever you are handling the Macintosh or whenever you are storing it, you should make sure that you avoid using sharp articles like blade or knife, because if you use this, then it can cut the Macintosh easily because it is made up of rubber, right? And also whenever you need to clean this Macintosh, you should make sure that you will never clean it, or you should avoid cleaning it with hot water, with kerosene, with benzene, or with the use of oils. So whenever you store and handle the Macintosh, this is what you should keep in mind. The next one is cleaning and disinfecting. So whenever you need to clean or whenever you need to disinfect the Macintosh, what you can do is that you can first spread it on a flat surface and wet it with the cold water. Then you can also rub the upper surface of the Macintosh with the use of a soap and also water using a clean cloth. So the first thing, as I have said, is you should rub first the upper part of the Macintosh. So after you have rubbed the upper part of the Macintosh with the use of a soap and of a clean cloth, right? Next thing is you should turn the Macintosh over and repeat the same step. And after this is done, then you can wash both surface of the Macintosh under the cold running water. And if stains are present on the Macintosh, then you should make sure that you remove it with an appropriate method. So in my last session, we have discussed, right, about the various stains and how we can remove it with the use of what we can remove that stain, right? So depending on the stain which is present in the Macintosh, you can use the appropriate method in order to remove it. And if the Macintosh also needs to be disinfected, then you can use the Lysol or the Dettol in the ratio of 1:4. And you can also hang them horizontally in the shade to let it dry. And when both surfaces of the Macintosh is dry, then you can powder them with French chalk powder. After this is done, then you can roll them back and place them in a dark and a cool place. So this is how you can store, you can handle, you can clean and disinfect the Macintosh. The second one is the rubber tubes. So how will you be able to take care of the rubber tubes? When you need to clean it, then the first thing you should do is you must keep the rubber tube upside down and run water through it. You can also make use of swab stick in order to remove any organic matter and also for ensuring the patency of the tube. You can also apply soap and water on the surface of the tube in order to remove dirt, grease or any matter which can be present. You can also wash them again under running water after you have cleaned it with the use of the soap and water, because in this manner it will ensure us that the tube will be clean. Because here when we are cleaning the tube, as I've said, if there is presence of dirt, grease or any other matter, we can use soap and water, right? So here, in order to make sure that all the soap has been washed off from the tube, then we can wash it under the running water. We can also, and if the tube needs to be sterilized, then we can boil the tube for 5 minutes under running water, and after this is done, then we can hang the tube for drying in a shaded place. And after the tube has been cleaned and dried, you can then coil the tube and place it in the cupboard. So this is what you can do in order for you to be able to take care of the tubes. Next is the gloves. How will you be able to take care of the gloves? First, it is important for you to know that the gloves is of two types, which is the disposable and the reusable. So here, if the glove is a disposable one, then it must be incinerated. Whereas if it is a reusable one, then you must make sure that it must be disinfected before you use that particular glove again. So how can you clean the glove? Here, the wearer of the glove must make sure that he or she washes the glove on their hands just before they remove them. And after they have removed the gloves, then they must make sure that they wash the gloves with the use of soap and cold water, first on the outside and then on the inside. And also, since we will be using the soap, so we must make sure that we thoroughly wash the gloves. And also sometimes when the examiner uses the glove, there may be presence of a tear or a hole. So in order for you to be able to check this out, what you can do is that you can fill the gloves with water. Because in this way, if there is presence of tear or a hole, we will be able to make out, right? And if in the glove there is a presence of these tear, or if there is a presence of a hole, then you must make sure that you must separate the glove. Why? Because by doing this, you will be able to make out if the glove is torn or if there is presence of a hole. And when you find that the glove is torn, you must make sure that you also separate them. And if you find that the glove can still be reused, then what you can do is that you can then hang the gloves for drying. So here, when the outside is dry, then you can turn the glove inside out and then dry the inside portion as well. And also these gloves, after they are being dried, then they will be powdered both on the inside and the outside, and then they will again be repacked. However, if the gloves needs to be sterilized, then we can also send them for autoclaving. So moving on to the next, that is the care of the air cushion, of the rubber beds, of the ice cap, as well as of the hot water bottle. So here, before you clean these articles, what you must do is that you must first remove the cover. So the cover of the air cushion, the cover of the hot water bag, or of the hot water bottle, the caps and the cushion, and these cover must be sent for decontamination. And also here you must make sure that you keep the bottle, the cap as well as the cushion empty by removing the water, the ice and the air before it is cleaned. And you must also make sure that the valves of the air cushion and the bed must never be immersed in the water. Then what you can do is that you can clean the outer surface with the use of the soap and water, and then you can hang them upside down for drying. And when these articles are dry, then you can inflate them with air, with water, or even with ice respectively. And also, not only when you are cleaning, but these hot water bottles, these ice cap must be emptied as soon as it is being used. So you must never store the hot water in the hot water bag only, but after it is being used, then you must make sure that you empty it. And then the next is the care of the ambu bag. So here it involves only two steps. First, you must clean the rubber part with the use of a clean cloth, and then you can disinfect it with the use of the methylated spirit swab. So how can you sterilize these rubber articles? So here you can sterilize the rubber equipments or the rubber articles through autoclaving at 120 degree Celsius temperature with a minimum pressure for 15 minutes. And if chemical sterilization needs to be done, then here we can use the alcohol 50 to 70% for 20 to 30 minutes, or we can also use the Savlon solution for 30 minutes. So this is how you will be able to take care of the rubber goods or the rubber articles which will be present in the hospital. Now we will move on to the next, that is the care of the steel items. So here you will also be finding that there will be steel items which will be present in the hospital setting, which will be used by the examiner in order to provide care for the client, right? So if I have to list down all of these steel items, it'll take a long time. I hope you guys have an idea of what steel items are. For example, the forceps, the sharp instruments, as well as the scope, that is the laryngoscope, the endoscope, etc. will be present in the hospital, right? So how will you clean these steel items? These steel items can be sterilized with the use of chemicals or even through autoclaving. So before you sterilize these steel items, you must make sure that you use or you wear the gloves while you are handling these items. Then you can dip the item in 5% chlorine for 5 to 6 minutes and then wash it under the running water. And when you are doing this, you should make sure that the tips, the tooth and also the groove of the forceps must be cleaned nicely and properly. And if these steel items or the steel instruments have the fine tip, then what we can do is that we can first cover them in a hard rubber cap. So after this has been done, then we can dry it and then send them for sterilization. However, a separate step is being done whenever you clean a laryngoscope. So whenever you clean a laryngoscope, you must first take a dry gauze piece in order to clean the saliva which will be present in the laryngoscope. You can then separate the blade from the laryngoscope and dip it in the disinfectant for 20 to 30 minutes. And after this has been dipped in the disinfectant for 20 to 30 minutes, then with the use of the Cheadle forceps, you can then take it out and dry it. And after this has been dried, then you can attach back the blade to the laryngoscope and store it in the emergency trolley for resuscitation. So this is how you can clean the laryngoscope. So now we have come to the end of this session. So in today's topic, we have dealt about the care of the rubber goods as well as the care of the steel items. So I hope you guys have got a clear insight of this topic. I'll be meeting you guys in another session. Until then, have a good day. Thank you.